Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for a market recap. And if you're interested in any of the services I provide, please check out the links in the description below. Both the Patreon and Discord. Okay, guys, so we're going to hop right on into the charts. It has been quite a while since we've done a recap, but much has changed. So let's start off with the dollar. As we can see, we have seen for the past couple weeks or so of a pullback on the dollar after having a very nice rise into this monthly bearish fair value gap. However, many people are going to start decrying now that the dollar is bearish, we're going sub 100, and that may be the case. However, if we look at this structurally, what I am currently observing is a pullback to then create a higher low. Now, why is that the case? Because we have been pulling down after our bull rally here on the dollar. We broke this trend up off of the pullback down from here, and things have changed the moment we took out this high right here and this high right here. These two highs were very key in this downtrend from the breaking of this previous uptrend. Okay, we've changed this character off of the rise here. We made a lower low, and then this lower low led to a higher high that took out protected highs. Okay, so now what we're looking for is a change in character, specifically a higher low right here from this low here, and what that will do is open the door for continuation higher, or at the very least a larger consolidation into the future. Okay, now this doesn't mean the market's going to turn bearish or anything like that. What this does imply though is that the dollar is very unlikely as of now to just dump into the future. Very unlikely just to break under 100 and go towards 95, 80, etc. Okay, so all I'm saying is be careful of getting too hyperbolic on dollar bearishness. It's more likely we're either going to make a higher low in this blue zone here, which is a very large accumulation demand, so whatever kind of way you want to label it, but a very large zone of interest where buyers have been holding steady, and that hasn't changed. And then also it is very likely that in the process of accumulating more here, we will likely see more upside, either making another lower high or making our way a little bit higher, going after this high pivot here and going after about 109 to 110. So it's best to just remain steady. Like I always say, I sign off with every video, remain vigilant and be patient. We'll let the chart tell us what it wants to do. But overall, it has been very bullish in the markets, and let's actually pivot over to the markets, specifically the US indexes. So let's get over to the Dow here. And what an incredible move here. I dare say the bear market is canceled. Okay, at least in the Dow. So the Dow had an incredible move up. As you can see, it took out the previous all-time high. So we are no longer in a correction here. The correction ended when we broke up through here and made the higher low, but I would say it's official. It's not a bear market rally, at least not in the Dow, and we are likely going to have continued price speculation to the upside over the rest of this month. And if the rumors are true, then we will likely see rate cuts coming sometime next year, probably towards, in my opinion, around the Q2, Q3 area. And this is pretty much in expectations within the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, make sure you're in the Discord. You'll find the link down below, and you'll pretty much have access to a bunch of streams and just have access to me and anyone else in there if you want to ask questions. And we've been really on the ball for the most part in the Lemon Garden. But Dow looks great. Now, does this mean we're just going to keep flying up? Potentially we may. So I'm going to make it very clear. The monthly chart is not overextended in any shape, way, or form. This is actually very early on in the breakout of this consolidation. There's nothing here telling me, we're going to pull back significantly. We're likely going to just hold steady or more likely just continue higher. Now, if we go over to the weekly and the daily, that may be a little bit of a different story. Weekly is not overextended as of now, but it is becoming extended if we get another 2-3 weeks of just straight up upside. And the daily has been very, very strong to the upside. Again, not hyper extended, but there is a bit of an overextension here. A lot of consecutive days up without much rest. So I would not be surprised if we do start to, at least in the very least, consolidate here. Looking for bullish consolidation if you want major upside. Something like this would be the most ideal. Or we get just a nice retracement down to then, again, we just want to look for the retracement down to create a higher low from here. Because notice that when we broke down, back over here, a lot of things changed the moment we took out this high here, because this high was the protected high. It led to this lowest low, and then we had a boom up, took out that high, and then we made a higher low right here from this low here, which is protected. Okay, this low here is protected. So now, after we're coming up through here, a lot of people, excluding myself, thought, okay, we took out this low here, right over here. We took out these low intermediate lows here. It was very likely, okay, we may, actually pull back and at least come back down towards, around 30. But that's not what happened. We actually broke down further and then very quickly pretty much in a bear trap situation where bears were very bearish here and they got completely trapped on the other side, completely offside from this major rally up very quickly, are now all just on the wrong side. We've taken out all the protected highs and all the pivot highs that we were dealing with here in one fell swoop. And now if we get a bullish consolidation here around the all-time high or even slightly higher, that is extremely bullish and implies major continuation going to the upside. So very, very bullish, very, very strong. If you're in the lemon garden, you know that we're pretty much long everything. So this has been a wonderful time for us. And it's interesting because if you go back into the previous recaps I've done, you'll notice that I was very confident, or at least I was on board with the bear market rally theory. It made a lot of sense. But I was wrong, right? My idea was wrong. But that's the great thing about trading that a lot of traders don't really have a good handle on. You don't trade your ideas, you trade the chart. So even though in my head, when I'm looking at, all the data I'm seeing fundamentally, it's telling me, okay, bear market rally, for the past 3-4 months, that's what I was thinking. But the charts were all telling me to be bullish because even though it might have been a bear market rally, it was a rally. So because it's proven now not to be a rally, but we are long, we get to reap the benefits. So both in stocks and crypto, we're in good positions for a lot of stocks and cryptos now. So I feel really, really good. But let's go forward on. Let's take a look at the S&P next and see what that's telling us. See if we're getting a similar story. So here's a good example of exactly my thinking here, right? So I left some notes, as I was, building out the chart for S&P. So like daily loss of uptrend, change of character, retracement back into the weekly bearish order block. That's exactly what we got here. And then we had a nice retest of that order block and then pulled back down. So very similar behavior to the Dow here. And then boom, big move up, trapping anyone who was very bearish or on the wrong side short, and now they're pretty much in drawdown at this point if they haven't closed. And then in this this note up here, I was asking myself the question as price came into here, is this a macro lower high? Are we actually doing the bear market rally here, where this will be the lower high from the all-time high there? And then also, is the rally over? And what I meant by this is this rally over. And in my head, just like I mentioned with the Dow, when this happened, I was feeling very confident, like, okay, this looks like a standard bear market rally, and we will probably see bearish continuation. But as you can see, these were all question marks, and now all of them are no. Right? It doesn't seem like it's a bear market rally anymore, even though S&P hasn't taken out its all-time high. If the Dow remains fairly strong, then the S&P will likely be pulled beyond its all-time high, and that would mean, obviously, it's not a bear market rally. So this is a great way to look at charts, in my opinion. You definitely want to, think about your ideas, kind of test them out, think how they're going to work, how they'll fail, but don't trade your ideas. Trade what the chart tells you is the right way. So when you see a big move up, after a nice move down like this, right, and you're taking out intermediate highs or protected highs from a nice little pop down, you should be looking for longs. Now, you may not be looking for home runs, but you should be looking for bullish plays, and sometimes the market will reward you greatly. And that's exactly what's happened here. So anyone who thought there was a bear market rally but wanted to play the rally bullish because that's what the chart said to do, they may be getting rewarded, including ourselves in the Lemon Garden. Hey, this may not be a bear market rally. This may be just the continuation of the macro bull market, which is just going to be insane, right? Just insane. So wonderful, wonderful. And if we actually zoom out here, if you can see it, we're actually getting a continuation structure here, a nice continuation cup and handle structure here that if this plays out fully, we're going well beyond 5,000 and we're going into the 5,500s and potentially even higher over the coming years. So this is a very, very interesting time, and I do think in my monitoring of like Twitter and YouTube and a lot of other social medias, a lot of people are on the wrong side of this market. So I don't think we're really getting flushed with a lot of dumb money. I actually think a lot of dumb money is still in doubt. So this is again another great sign that this is just the beginning. And if we are patient and play our cards right in the Lemon Garden, we have like almost 20 longs in crypto here. Right? Let me just double check here before we go off to the next thing. We have all of these are longs. All this is longs, and we have one short right here. All of this is longs, and a lot of these, about 5 or 6, 7 of them maybe, are all just out of reach of risk completely. We've taken 50% off, and just letting it run. So we're in such a strong position. Same with stocks. I mean, everything is on the verge here. If we get continuation over the coming months to year or so, we're going to be in a massive position. So I am super excited for not just myself, but anyone who's in the swing trade service and is in the Discord with me, because there's just so many opportunities here that are brewing that most money doesn't seem to be in it yet. So I'm very, very excited. So let's go over to the NASDAQ and see how that's actually playing out as well. And NASDAQ, I was just about to say, was actually getting closer towards its all-time high relative to the S&P. And this one also, same old story. And funnily enough, the NASDAQ was what was kind of making me scratch my head about my idea, like, oh, are we in a bear market rally? Because this move up here, let's actually get rid of this doodle here. So this doodle was showing that if we pull back to this area, I would expect a higher low for a bullish continuation up. So even in my bear market rally thesis, I could not justify in that idea when I looked at the chart of a major move down to go after these lows. I just didn't see it. So that alone was enough evidence for me to really think about my position, right? My ideas. And then when, as we were kind of developing this price action here, I knew that I was probably wrong. Over the last 2 months, I was really hitting the wall of doubt with my idea. I was probably wrong because I saw this here, and I teach in my tutorings and then just in my free live streams on the Discord all the time. When you see this nature, a big move up, and then you're grinding lower like this, the bias in that nature is bullish. Okay, this is where smart money tends to be accumulating in a continuation pattern, a continuation character. Okay, so this here, when I started to see this behavior here in the NASDAQ, I knew that, man, this is really checking on the boxes of bullishness, and it kept me more confident to keep looking for long opportunities in general. Right, so this is a really good, again, another good example of don't trade your ideas, but trade the chart, because the charts will tell you when you're wrong. And just because you're wrong, guys, doesn't mean you won't make money, right? You're only wrong if you get married to your ideas, and that's what you need to avoid. So be humble enough to know that your ideas are more likely than not going to be wrong, and the chart will more likely than not tell you the truth. So this is a great example of that. I was bearish pretty much this entire time, but I was long the entire time, right? And you can ask anyone in the Discord. There was very few shorts. I think there was less than 10 shorts between stocks and crypto and all the trades from the beginning of the year, right? And that's because the chart wouldn't tell me to go short, even though I was in my head bearish. So yeah, just you guys really, I hope you kind of mull on that, and I hope you find some value in understanding you don't have to be writing your ideas to be successful in the markets at all. You just have to be humble enough to allow yourself to go against your own ideas if the chart is telling you you're wrong. All right, so let's go over to oil. So I want to touch on oil a little bit here. So if you've been following me at all, in my previous recaps, I know it's been a while. Again, apologies for that. But I don't like to do videos upon videos. I only like to do videos when there's been major changes. So I have been, kind of just not doing anything. I've been very active in the Discord. So again, plugging it again. Make sure in the Discord it's totally free. You'll find the link in the description below. But there's been so much change here. With oil, not so much. Oil is very similar to dollar. I'm bullish on dollar and I'm bullish on oil. I'm bullish on dollar because outside of the U.S., foreign, there's going to be a lot of demands for dollars, in my opinion. I think you're starting to get hints of it. You have the new Argentinian president has plans to kind of take away his own currency and just completely adopt the U.S. currency as his currency. And I think you're actually going to see a lot of countries do that because their currencies are essentially dying against the dollar. So they're going to have dollar, in my opinion, to pay off debts and also trying to keep any buying power that they want to hold. Oil's the same way. Unfortunately, and I say this with a heavy heart, I'm very skeptical in that the conflicts in the Middle East specifically is going to be subsiding anytime soon. So as that continues forward, you're going to see continuation of oil supply being cut. So it's not really being reported widely, but Saudi Arabia, OPEC, has been cutting supply a lot. You're not seeing it reflected in the oil price for now, but eventually there will come a point where it can no longer be suppressed, and there will come a point where it won't want to be suppressed. There's even a hint here in the charts, right? So it's very similar to the dollar, right? So we're breaking down, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, oil's going to zero. I've been seeing some crazy stuff on Twitter, some fools talking about how oil's going to like $20 a barrel, which is crazy. But oil's in the uptrend, guys. Nothing's changed. And the reason how I can say this is because here's the high here of oil, right? This is the high. But this right here, right over here, this is the protected low on oil. Right down here at $62. All right, and so far this area has been defended greatly. Now, can it be taken out? Of course it can. Nothing's set in stone in trading, but until that level's taken out, there's no point in being bearish on oil. You gain nothing from it. Okay, so far what I'm seeing is that we had a nice retracement back down. Okay, we've held the protected low. We've come into this 7-year, this blue zone is a 7-year accumulation point. It's a very, very, very interesting zone for a lot of big money to buy into it, buy into this commodity here. And notice how you see the behavior here. Okay, you see this accumulation phase here and then a continuation. We broke from this consolidation, and now if we successfully see oil hold a higher low above these wicks here and obviously above this protected low here, all you're doing is creating the higher low scenario for continuation. So this is why I've been bullish for the past year plus in oil. I was bullish for so long, even throughout all here. I was saying it's going to go up, it's going to go up. I'm saying still, I do not see this slowing down at all. There's no reason for it to be doing that on a technical level. Okay, it hasn't lost anything on a technical level on the charts to suggest that, and I don't see it on a fundamental level when, unfortunately, we have conflict brewing everywhere. We even have conflict that a lot of people aren't even talking about. Venezuela is on the verge of invading Guyana. All right, you can look into that yourself, but it has everything to do with oil, right? So, like, there is conflicts all over the world that is likely going to push price of oil up over the coming year. So I'm holding fast on this. Now my tune will change because I'm not married to this idea. And honestly, to be completely transparent, I would love for the oil price to dump, because that would mean cheaper prices theoretically and food and other necessities, obviously at the pump as well. But I can't lie and say what I want. I have to go about what I'm actually seeing, and what I'm seeing is the oil price is likely going to rise more and more over the next coming year because of these conflicts, but also because the uptrend on oil is still alive. Okay, now if we lose 62, we lose this low here. then you will hear me change my tune, and I will gladly do it. Okay, I will gladly do it because I'm not married to oil going up. I really don't have that much skin in the game outside of my everyday life, so I would prefer for it to go down. But yeah, so I'm bullish on oil, okay, and I still am. I have been, and I still am. Next is gold and silver. So gold's been absolutely a monster, been a complete beast. And you know what's funny is gold is doing, I was mentioning this on the Discord, gold is doing exactly what the Dow did, but smaller, right? Or I should say gold did what the Dow did before the Dow, but smaller. So again, remember, the Dow was coming down, you know, and then boom, you know, big move up, trapped all the bears that might have gone into here, all the bearish money that was in here. They got trapped, pull back, and then continuation, and then we wicked even higher through the all-time high here, making a new all-time high at about like 21,048, or I should say 2,148, not 21,000. Only you gold bears would wish that. Hopefully you get that one day. But yeah, so we're looking pretty solid. Do I think we're going to continue to rise here? I do think we will rise over time, but I am looking for more of a consolidation here on the weekly. The key for the weekly will be pretty much trading within this candle here for quite some time. I actually think we're going to be here between 2,148 and probably the low of like 2,000, give or take, for a couple of weeks, maybe even some months, to be honest. Depending on how that price action is painted, will determine my bias in the short term. Now, let's just say it turns out being bearish. Well, that could get very interesting if the Dow starts to paint the same situation and the S&P fails to take the high. Because if that's the case, then we may be seeing something similar to what Bitcoin did back when it made its high around 69,000. Right, so it made its high. I think Bitcoin made a high around like, what was it, like 60,000. Let's actually pull up Bitcoin chart real quick, and then we'll go back to gold and silver, I promise. But let's take a look at this. So if we go back in time here on Bitcoin, yeah, right over here, you know, is this possible to happen where we have this behavior, pretty much a swing failure pattern at the macro top? Absolutely. So if we start getting evidence of this sort of behavior, again, on a smaller scale for gold, right? Gold is at a smaller scale than Bitcoin when we look at it from a charts perspective, right? So take a look at this. You see how the highs here to here is much smaller relative to the Bitcoin previous high, all-time high to the new all-time high that happened in that little swing failure pattern kind of play. So, can we get that? Absolutely. Are we likely to get that? It doesn't seem like it, but we do have to respect this wick here, this sell down candle, this rejection, because that's what it was. It was a rejection. But the key is, will the rejection lead to continuation? And what you'll see is when we go over the Bitcoin chart, a lot of the bearish players in the markets, both in crypto and equities, have really been lackluster when it comes to bearish continuation. So I actually don't really have much faith that the bears or the bearish actors in this market will be able to push price down for some sort of like bear market continuation on gold. I'm more likely seeing here a move back down sub 2,000 and then looking for a much larger consolidation here, much larger. And this consolidation will likely lead towards, and it may not even happen here, it may happen all the way up here. Like I said, in between this candle's high wick and the low that candle here. Either way, I'm looking for a major consolidation. And then that consolidation will give me more bias. So I'll get more clear bias from that. So I am kind of keeping my cards to my chest here, keeping it kind of close, because I'm not too sure yet. It's a little too immature. But this was a clear rejection. But I would be very, very careful looking for to get like back under 1,800 anytime soon. At least not before some sort of consolidation to suggest that. Okay, but overall, it has been overall pretty bullish. We'll see if it continues to be. Next is silver. So silver, very interesting. And silver also, it relatively rhymes with gold, but it's been extremely stunted, and we all know why, or at least if you're paying attention to the silver market, you're fairly aware. Silver's just so much more used in the industrial use case, in just industry in general. I mean, all your phones, laptops, everything, silver is just ingrained into all of it. So the pricing of silver it's there's a lot of incentive for it to remain low, so your products don't have to go up so much. Your tech products don't have to go up so much in price. So there's a lot of incentive to keep it low. So any upside gold gets, silver will be fairly stunted in comparison. Now, if we look at this on a technical level, it still had a very similar move up, just again stunted, right? So silver breaks down and then boom. But what's interesting is its pop up from this bullish fair value gap. It didn't actually have enough strength to take out at least this intermediate high. It had to actually do a consolidation here, right? A bullish consolidation that then led towards continuation. And this continuation did take out a protected high that led to this lowest low. So we are going to be looking for signs of a higher low. Now, we may have gotten it right here, but even if, let's just say silver breaks down to here, as long as this low is protected, the door for continuation to, prices around 27 is in the air for sure. And again, this will be very closely tied to gold. So we'll have to wait and see how gold's going to build, because it's potentially, we'll see next week, maybe gold won't go into consolidation at all and it'll just continue to trend up higher. That's totally possible. But from what I'm seeing, the probabilities are leading more towards a larger consolidation. And that would suggest that silver is going to do the same. And if we look at silver, just from the price action, just like looking at it like this, right? We'll hide the drawings here. This is a much larger consolidation. Let's go on to the weekly as well. So take a look at this. So much larger. But what's interesting is many people would say, oh, it looks toppy. But if you go up to the weekly, like I'm looking at here, this is not how topping structures generally look. Okay, they don't generally look this way, and I'll explain why. So this move up here, okay, very bullish move up. All right, we broke from this consolidation down here, so very strong. I mean, it was very impressive. Now, this move down here, you would look for continuation, but now we've had the pop up here, and notice what the weekly's doing here. We have a move up from here to here, and we're starting to grind lower. Now, with gold's failure to have a decisive action above its all-time high and had that failure candle, right? You're seeing that reflected right here on the weekly. See this big down candle? That's gold's rejection we just went over. So if this candle here is held for a period of time, what you're going to end up seeing here is a continuation structure on the weekly. So something like this will occur where you end up breaking out from this, okay, and it leads to continuation, and it starts to take out the highs here. And if we take out the highs here, what ends up happening is this low here, okay, this low here, and maybe in this case it might be this low right here. Either way, this low or this low, depends on how it builds. Once you take this high out right here, okay, this big wick right here, you have officially flipped the trend, or you've officially had trend continuation from the breakout of here on the weekly. And that's when, if that's happening, gold's probably skyrocketing and silver's having a major move up to the 40s. So we aren't that bearish on silver, but it's just not as bullish as gold. So you want to keep your eye on silver for sure, but obviously use gold as your litmus. It's going to be the leader, as it always has been. And understand that if you're long silver, be prepared. You're probably going to deal with a stunted reaction on silver, okay? But in the end, it will rhyme and overall just kind of follow gold. All right, so let's go over to Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin right now. Let's pull this up, and as you can see, we have some major moves up. And I'm going to touch on some of these altcoins. I want to talk about the opportunity that's happening here. But yes, let's go to Bitcoin here. So again, if you're not in the Discord, make sure you're in the Discord, because I often do live streams. It's just not for the premium members, okay? There's plenty of opportunity for all members who want to take the time to invest in being with us. Okay, I do live streams all the time. We go over all these different charts. Everyone asks me all these questions. I'm going to talk about some coins that I talked about with everyone that wasn't just for premium members that you could have hopped into. Okay, so Bitcoin, as you can see on the weekly, major move up. We've come into this bearish 1 week fair value gap, and this is a supply area, whatever you want to call it, bearish area. use whatever terminology you want. And so the slowdown here is very reasonable. We've had consecutive weeks up. However, what I want to say is, do not allow commentary, whether it's me or anyone else, to tell you that we're bearish now or we're bullish now. Just trust the chart. So if we look from the weekly's perspective, we know that this is an uptrend still because there's been no changes in that. So it doesn't matter where price got to, okay? Price is where it is. But you can't know whether or not the uptrend is over, because as someone who's been in the market for over a decade now, I can tell you price can go up much higher than you could have ever fathomed and much lower than you have ever fathomed. There's no point of having any expectations on where price can and cannot go. It doesn't serve you at all. What's most important is to understand what you're in. You're in an uptrend, and until otherwise, you should be operating in that mental space. Okay, so let's go down to the daily time frame. So weekly's an uptrend, right? Daily is pulled back from the weekly fair value gap, as we can see, but again, consolidating. All right, so we may still get continuation lower. That's definitely possible, but it doesn't mean that we're out of an uptrend. Now, if we lose this level here, and this level happens to be, let's see, right around 34,500, give or take, approximately around there. That's when we can start all talking about, okay, the uptrend is likely over. At least this current uptrend from pretty much the beginning of the year is likely over on Bitcoin, and we should start flipping our heads around to taking more profits off. And I have taken profits, as you can see. We took 50% off here, and we took another 50% off here, and we're leaving 25% of the position running on Bitcoin until the trend is clearly over. Right, so as that happens, this is where I would be looking through. Okay, we need to close out fully, and if any other cryptos are doing the same thing where they're taking out protected lows, that's when the uptrend is likely over. So it's all about just staying consistent and not allowing outside influence to make decisions for you. That's kind of what I'm trying to get through to you. So if price comes back to here and takes out this low, then we should be looking for a lower high to come from here. So something like this and then continuation. But as of right now, if you ask me what's most likely, if we look at the price action right now and we look at it from the daily's perspective, okay, and we see that price has rejected off this 1 week bearish fair value gap, but notice that the bears have no follow through. Okay, they've had no follow through for a long time. So let's go down to the 4 hour and then we'll come right back to the daily. Look at this. Right over here. So if you were in the Discord, you would have known, if you were talking to me, this is where I was starting to get really bearish on Bitcoin, okay? This is where I was starting to think, okay, maybe I'm going to close out my entire long here, because this was the first instance where I'm thinking this is starting to get pretty bearish looking. All right, we're starting to show signs of where smart money might be lulling and dumb money go long late, and they're going to start dumping. Right? Because what I teach, another thing is, it's basic nature, okay? It's not about the pattern, it's about the bias. When you have a big move up and then you grind higher like this, okay? So you can call whatever you want, rising wedge, whatever name you want to attribute to this. Doesn't matter. The point is, as long as you understand what it means, the bias-wise. Once you start to see this, you should be looking for signs of a reversal of the trend. So I was starting to see, okay, maybe that's what's being built here. But immediately we had a pop-up, and then I saw a pennant structure forming. And that's when I knew, okay, we are definitely not getting any follow-through from the bears at all, right? They've been failing nonstop pretty much since the beginning of the year, since we finally broke out after the FTX debacle for Bitcoin. So this was a huge turning point for me, because it really started to call into question my bearishness I was feeling. Not trading, feeling. And I really started to realize that this may not be the bear market rally, both in crypto or equities, that I was, seeing or thinking I was seeing. So this was a huge deal, and I felt that losing this structure for the bears was almost fatal for the time being. They've just not had the opportunity, and even within here, you can see how much downside they were trying to force out of the market, and it just could not break. So after we broke out from this little 4 hour pennant here, I'm looking for a continuation. I'm looking for follow through from the bears, and this right here, this is as strong as you can ask for. This is great. And already, notice what we've done. We broke down, right? We broke down. And if we go down to the hourly, you know what we're going to see? We're going to see this behavior like this. We're going to see this if we go down to the hourly. We're going to see this. And I teach, again, this is a bullish, okay, a bullish bias structure, okay? This is the nature of that structure. Take a look. We break down and we start to grind lower. We start to grind lower, and then we immediately shoot out, okay? We immediately start to shoot out. This is not what you want to see from the bears who have allowed Bitcoin to essentially rise uninterrupted for the past year. Okay, it's been very few interruptions in between the rises. So this is another sign that I don't think, I'm not really confident that this 1 week bearish fair value gap is actually going to hold as a significant supply, and we may actually see another leg up going towards 46 to 50. Now, why is that important? Why is that a whole big game changer? Can it still be a bear market if we have 50,000 and dump? Absolutely. However, if we were to do that, we would do something for the first time that we've never done before. So let's go over to Bitcoin, the index chart, because there's more history and it doesn't have any drawings, okay? So let's take a quick look on Ichimoku. So if you know me, I have a soft spot. I love Ichimoku, okay? I don't use it in my day-to-day trading as much, but I do love it. I think it's a great indicator for a bunch of reasons. I won't go into details. I have videos of that on the channel if you're interested. But if we go and put this overlay on, right? Let's go to the monthly chart. If we were to rise to 50,000, okay? So let's just say that 1 week bearish fair value gap doesn't hold and we do start breaking past going towards 50,000. We are currently trading at the Kijun-sen. That's this black line here, okay, on the monthly. So in case you don't understand, the Kijun-sen is like a visual representation of midterm traders relative to the time scale you're on. So in this case, for a monthly chart, it's a midterm trader on the monthly. So that's a pretty long time. So price coming into this, and if it conquers it and comes into the 50s, and we start to trade above the Kijun-sen on the monthly chart and close above, and we have this bullish cloud expand over the month. And then we also have the Tenkan-sen, which is this thin blue line, kind of like a moving average, cross through the Kijun-sen. A failure here, that will have never happened in Bitcoin's history. If it conquers the Kijun-sen, gets above all the lines in the cloud on the monthly, it has never failed to rally from that in its existence. Now, granted, there's not much data here because Bitcoin's so young, but in general, a monthly Ichimoku, like a weekly and a daily, the higher time frame Ichimokus are extremely accurate over a long period of time because it takes so much work to conquer those zones. So this would be a massive failure that Bitcoin has never seen, and it would open up the door for sub 15,000 and probably going towards 8 to 10,000 and lower. That's what a lot of people don't understand. This is not likely to stop here if we were to fail here, right? If we were to fail at 50,000 and we had the failure of a breakout on the Ichimoku, this is not likely to stop here. This is likely to take these lows. And if you think that's crazy talk, it's not, because go on any time frame chart, and look for that behavior where you make a macro lower high and you have a failure on a high time frame Ichimoku and you actually break this low here, okay? Because right now, this is the intermediate low here. This is the intermediate low. We haven't taken out a protected low on the monthly for Bitcoin because healthy charts don't do that. If you want to know what the protected low is, the protected low is down here. So if we actually come down and take this low out, what's likely going to happen is not that we're dropping to zero, is that we're going to pull up really hard, and then we're going to drop to zero. So I'm not saying this is to scare you that this is going to happen. This is extremely unlikely, and that's what's interesting. We are at this point where it is extremely unlikely, if Bitcoin's going to be a successful asset into the many years, into decades, into the future, which I believe it will be, that we can't fail here in the way that people think we're going to. Because if we do, the probabilities increase dramatically that Bitcoin's dead. And because I don't think that's going to happen, because it's super unlikely, and because we see all the fundamental growth outside of the crypto market for Bitcoin specifically, that does not seem likely. That seems very unlikely. And if that is unlikely and that isn't going to happen, then what's going to happen? Dare I say the bear market is canceled. Ain't that incredible? We may be, over the next 2 months here, 2 to 3 months, watching Bitcoin making its way towards its all-time high. Okay? Now, if it doesn't do that, right? So let's just bring it back to us in the Lemon Garden. If it doesn't do that, what are we going to do? We're going to trade. It doesn't matter if Bitcoin is going to, 100,000 or 2 million. Who gives a shit? Pardon my language, but who cares, right? Who cares? We're traders. Whether it's going up or down, we're making the money. We're going to make money going up or down. Okay? That's what we're going to do. But if we are correct, right? Or at least if I'm correct in that this is the beginnings of the continuation of the bull market for the monthly on Bitcoin. Okay, and again, this is the monthly, so that means this could take many months before we even come close to the all-time high. We can come up to here and consolidate, right? We could do something like this, for many, many months. Who knows? It could take a whole year before we do something like that, where we go after the high. But if I'm right, what that means, what that implies is the longs we're in right now, and the longs that I'm trying to get into as we go forward, as things come into position correctly, won't just be major trades. These longs here that we have, okay? These longs here, like on AVAX, right? This long here isn't just a great long that we're in. And as you can see on the chart, it came to the full TP, but we're still in it. We closed 50% here, 50% here, and now we're just letting the rest ride. This will turn into a massive trade. Massive trade. Potentially, depending on your situation, if you're in it with me, a life-changing trade. Okay? This trade on algo, same old thing. Right? If we're in what we're seeing here, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. And the reason why I'm stressing this, the reason why I'm focusing on this is because there's going to be so many voices all over social media. They're already there. Look at that. They're already there saying that it's over. This can't happen. Blah, 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 blah. Do not ever put any expectations on what price can and cannot do. No one knows. I don't know. No one knows. And anyone who claims they know is wrong. They're just wrong. Okay? So all you can do is trade the charts. That's all we can do, guys. So when you ask me questions like, what's going to happen, blah, 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 just know that if we're in an uptrend and the protected low has been taken out, I'm gonna lean towards that. And you should too, because that's the only thing outside of risk management that makes sense. Again, if you want to understand what works in trading, I have a video that literally says what works in trading. That's the title. So go watch that if you haven't watched it, and you'll come to understand where my mindset is, and you'll come to understand how I'm in these trades. It's not like it's great trades. I'm so happy we're in them. I'm happy other people are in it with me. Okay, we're so blessed that we're in this position. But the reason why I'm able to get into this stuff is because I understand that nothing really actually works in trading, save for risk management. Okay, that's the only thing. And no one's opinions are going to change that. So Bitcoin, there shows, you're asking what's going to happen. You want the recap. Guess what? It's going up. Guess what? Bitcoin's going up. It's going to go up higher. What we're likely going to see is a consolidation here. And currently, this is what it looks like. And what does that look like? Remember what I teach all the time. Big move up, grind lower, has a what? Bull bias. It's the same old story. It's the same old story. Right? Big move down, grind lower, bull bias. It's the same thing on any and all sizes. It doesn't matter. Every time frame, doesn't matter. Okay? So there's no point in trying to time the market. Don't time the market. Be in the market. When you have the bias, be in the market. That's it. That's all you got to do. So we're in all these positions because the charts say so, and we'll be out of all of them when the charts say so. So again, this is an incredible time. We don't know what Bitcoin's going to do. Is it going to take the all-time high? It doesn't really matter, but it is in the process, and the probabilities are increasing by the day that we stay here. And the reason that you're seeing the altcoins go pretty wild, right? They're going very, very strong here, right? Even the one that we're in drawdown here on the near short, again, in a very small position, this is at least in what I'm trying to do, it's a play to essentially build out a much larger short pseudo hedge sort of situation, okay? But if we stay here, alts will continue to do better and better and better. The more stable Bitcoin is in between these rallies, the better it is for the altcoin market. So this is not the sign that you want if you're bearish. You don't want to see stability. You don't want to see a consolidation. That's not what you want to see. What you actually want to see is what you saw on gold, right? So let's go back to the gold chart here. I know this video is long-winded, but I got to get these points through, guys. This is what you want to see on Bitcoin if you're bearish. Okay, you want to see that rejection candle. Now, the follow-through so far has been kind of lackluster, but that is the candle you want to see if you're bearish on Bitcoin or crypto. This is the last thing you want to see. This opens the door to 250. And like I just went over, if it gets to the 50s and holds there for the month or 2 months, you're asking Bitcoin to do something it's never done before. And you may be answered, but if it's never happened, the probabilities are pretty low, right? Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Hopefully I went over some stuff that you were interested in. Again, I'm going to try and get the recaps out more often, but like I said in the beginning, I don't really like just doing videos for video's sake. I'm not here for growth and becoming YouTube famous. I actually don't really care about that. I'm more in it for the people who are with me already, for them to become as good of traders as they possibly can, and for me to be in the journey with them, and pretty much for all of us to have success. Right? But again, if you are not in the Discord or you're not in the service, you don't even have to be in the service to be in the Discord. There's plenty of stuff you can find on the Discord without being in the service for value. But if you are interested in the services, I do a day trade room, attempting to get people funded. We got 2 people funded so far. Hopefully a third one right around the corner. And then obviously we do a swing trade service, which I do swing trades for both crypto and stocks. Cryptos have been absolutely fabulous this year. Stocks actually have not been that great this year. It's been very lackluster. Haven't lost money, but haven't made much either. And that's, again, I believe in transparency and honesty. I can't promise that I'm going to be the best trader every single day, because I'm not. There's going to be people better than me out there. I'm not serving you any sort of proprietary indicator that's going to do X, Y, and Z. The industry doesn't want you to know about blah, 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 all that nonsense. What I'm teaching you is basic market structure, how to follow trends, and how to day trade and just swing trade with proper risk management. That's it. That's all I'm teaching you. That's all you're going to get from me. And I've been doing it over for a decade and been very, very profitable for the majority of that decade. So, I'm just going to share with you and part with you what I know works for me. And by the grace of God, we have many in there that are starting to reap some of that fruit. I'm super happy and proud to see it and to be a small part of it. So if you are interested in any of the services or just the Discord, you'll find the links to both the Discord and the Patreon down below. Obviously, if you don't want to go through Patreon, I do have crypto alternatives on the Discord. Again, you'll find it in the Discord. So that's it, guys. Everyone, remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. I love you guys. Take care. Bye.